Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Latin America show. My name is Enrique Gelista, and it's a pleasure being tonight with all of you because, well, we have prepared an extraordinary program for all of you. We're going to talk about Mexico. We're going to talk about Chiapas, that is in the southeast of Mexico, well, the south of Mexico. And we're going to talk with a writer that he is Ted Campbell, that, well, he has actually written a book related to all this area that is a state in Mexico called Chiapas. So we're going to discover some places that maybe you are interested to visit. And also we have an extraordinary music producer. He is from Colombia and UK, and he's Dukus. So, well, he's gonna be with us tonight. So first of all, I would like to ask you to share this video with more people. It's very easy. You just only have to press here, share or compartir. It depends how do you have your Facebook, your settings on Facebook. So, and remember to follow us in all our social networks. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. If you go to YouTube, don't forget to put the bell there, and also on Facebook, put the bell there in order that you know every time that we are broadcasting or we are launching a new video. So you will know that, well, anyway, this program is always every Tuesday at 8 o'clock London time, 2 o'clock Mexico time, and of course the rest of the world, check your time zones. I would like to say hello. Well, we have some people already connected. So thank you very much for being with us tonight. I can see Liliana that, well, she's saying hello, hello. No comezón? I'm scratching myself, have been scratching myself? Well, I don't know. But, well, Gary Dancy is saying, hello, everyone from London. I don't know if I was doing that. Hello also, Elżbieta, that, well, she's saying buenas noches a todos. Everybody's speaking in Spanish. And we haven't had the lesson with Whitney. So, well, remember to share this video, please. In order that more people, they know what the Latinos, what the Latin American people we are doing around the world. And also, if you know anyone who wants to come to join us and to talk about maybe their business, or maybe something that they are doing, like could be in arts or musicians or singers, or people that they are like in travel agencies, that, well, it looks like, well, we are almost at the end of the tunnel. So, well, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So, well, it looks like, well, it's going to come soon, the normality to this country at least. But just a reminder that, well, just keep all these kind of measures in order that you, that you don't have this terrible disease that, well, we have struggling with it for this, well, year and a half almost, I think so. So, well, I would like to say hello to mis amigos. Whitney Nuchereno.
Hola a todos. Very excited to start with you guys tonight on our program. Lots to learn about Mexico, Colombia, and tribute to my favorite holiday today. It's a very important day. It is National Wine Day. So grab your favorite bottle. This is Garzón Tanat from Uruguay that we talked about in our January episode. So go see that. And yes, which you can buy at Paladar as well. So I hope you are opening up a favorite bottle of wine in honor of tonight. I know I will a little bit later on.
Why you're not sharing with us, Whitney?
Because it's my favorite bottle and I want it for me, myself, and I. No, I'm just kidding. Because we're broadcasting from different areas of London, remember?
Okay. Enjoy your bottle of wine on the other side in Clapham Junction.
Hello, everyone. I don't have a wine, so because Whitney, she's got it. So anyway, I just want to say hello to everyone. Just to emphasize what Enrique says, just be conscious. Slowly, we're going out. Don't go so crazy, so we can enjoy more free time. So welcome. Let's do it today.
Excellent, Roger. So, well, as I said, we have prepared a very nice show that, well, we're going to talk about nature. We're going to talk about extraordinary landscapes that you can visit in Mexico, and also fantastic music from this Colombian UK singer and music producer. But I think it's time to go for the first section with Whitney.
Yay, okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Making Spanish Simple Part 1. So since one of our guests is going to be talking about tourism in Mexico, here are some important words and phrases to get around during your next trip. So there are more questions because, you know, you ask a lot of questions, you're going to be hearing a lot of questions. So just to review some of the question words, and then we're going to link them with some of the most common questions that you're going to hear. So let's begin. Oh, Enrique, what am I asking you to do?
Oh, sorry, I haven't.
I thought I had him trained from before. Roger knows. He just.
What?
Como un perro. Yes. No, I mean, nothing. Okay, mute it, please.
Hold on, let me do something.
No, don't you.
That is the power.
This is why I hate not being able to host the Zoom. That's okay. We'll get back at you later. It's called revenge. All right, so moving on. Roger, you're so funny. All right, I'm gonna look at my slides and not at you guys because I'm not gonna be able to get through the next few minutes. Okay, so again, question words. Going over a few and linking them together. So you have que, which means what, and then como, which means how, and sometimes it also means what as well. Particularly if someone says something that you don't understand, you could say que, como. So there, you see them in various different ways. The first one is como te llamas. So even though como normally means how in front of like the rest of a sentence and not alone, como te llamas literally means how do you call yourself? It's what we call reflexive verb. But in English, we don't speak like that. So it's what's your name? Como te llamas? And then como estás, that we see translated a little bit more literally in how are you doing? So como te llamas? Como estás? And then the last one, geez, I was thinking of a lot of different question words that we could have put with this, but like, ¿qué quieres hacer? Like, what would you like to do? Okay. For example, like if you're going to be, if you go to, I don't know, like the hotel concierge and you ask for suggestions, like, ¿qué quieres ver? ¿Qué quieres hacer? You could use que in a lot of other different questions as well, of course, and that's just one example. So let's actually use this example and put this in the comments. ¿A qué parte de México quieres ir? So what part of Mexico would you like to go to? Put it in the comments. You would say quiero ir a, or quiero visitar, quiero viajar. It depends. You can use whichever verb. So por ejemplo, si es Tulum, okay, it's yo quiero ir a Tulum. Okay, so throw it in the comments below. I will check it out in about 1 or 2 minutes when they load. And yeah, where in Mexico do you want to go to? Think of a place, a city, a region, and throw it in. Okay, moving on. All right, so a couple more. We're not getting to all the question words, of course, but here are a few more. Donde is where. So this is a really common word you hear, especially in Spanish 101. One of the questions is de dónde eres? Like, where are you from? And dónde está, okay, or dónde estás. If you were to say dónde estás, where are you? But if you were to say dónde está, this is what you would use if you're referring to lots of things. But for example, places, like dónde está la plaza, dónde está el restaurante, dónde está el baño, or which is what I have here. Where is something located? Now, as you can see, de dónde eres, and then dónde está, or cómo estás, as we learned in this question up here. Those are the verb estar. That's because in both of these situations, cómo estás and dónde está, that's talking about location, and your location changes. Maybe not as much during a pandemic, but you change locations periodically or frequently in normal pre-COVID times. And that's why we use the verb estar. So that's an example of that. And then last few, because I know time is of the essence, I want to get to your comments, so please put them in. Cuando. So cuando means when, not at what time. That's a qué hora. And we'll talk about that in a future segment. We already talked about that a little bit if you caught my segment a few weeks ago. So cuando is when, like day of the week, month, year, whatnot. So ¿Cuándo quieres hacer este tour? So if someone's like doing a tour, and there are many ways to say tour, like gira, tour, visita. ¿Cuándo quieres? It'd be like, what day of the week? Like, ¿cuándo quieres hacer esto? It could be miércoles, it could be la semana que viene. It just depends. So that's when we use cuando versus a qué hora. A qué hora refers specifically to time, which I will review in a future segment because we haven't done a lot of that yet at all. And then finally, cuánto. All right. So when you're pulling out your wallets, your Apple ID, your Apple Pay, whatever it is, everything has a cost. So cuánto is a really good word. How much? Or cuánto cuesta? How much does this cost? All right. Or cuánto cuestan if it's more than one thing that you're buying. Okay. And that is a really, really useful word because, you know, we're paying for a lot of things that we're doing on holidays. Very little in this world is free. So I am going to go back to the comments. Okay. And I'm putting this up here in case anyone wants to get a last minute comment in. So I am only seeing, and Enrique, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to chime in because I think you see this a little bit a little bit more in advance than I do, but I saw Garen Dancy said, quiero ir a Chiapas porque vi una foto bonita or bonita because it's una foto, but almost perfect Spanish.
That could be interesting to say because it's a masculine.
So, okay. So yes, thank you. And I'm not saying that like, thank you, Enrique, please be quiet. No, that's actually a really good point. So no, I'm giving you okay. What I mean to say is that when we're talking about certain nouns, just like I explained on earlier shows, certain words that end in a aren't always feminine. And most of those words, not all of them, end in ma, like el problema, el tema, el lema, el poema. And also it's the same thing with other words that end in a, like el planeta. It's just masculine and you think that. So then you have words that end in o, and not just foto. I mean, foto at least has an explanation because it's short for fotografía, which ends in an A. However, there are other words in the Spanish language that end in O, such as la mano, hand. Why is it la? Exactly. So that's a very good point. Those are just those common outliers that you memorize and get on with it because there's really not an explanation in my opinion as a language learner. Okay, there's another comment. Me gustaría visitar. Perfect, even better. Me gustaría. We haven't gotten to that yet, but that's definitely what I would say. Me gustaría visitar Barrancas o Cobre with Copper Cannon. Yeah, Cobre is copper. Ooh, nicely done. Okay, top 2 students. Absolutely, nicely done. I think in the future, we should have one of the quiz questions, Enrique, in what does something mean in Spanish from the lessons, because so that, not that I'm criticizing your question writing, it's really great. It's so good that last time only one person got it right, but that's it for tonight. That's it. That's my first part. Criticizing.
Now I can see that, well, you're the kind of teacher that, well, it's like once you take one of your students, it's like you are like mocking him all the time. And it's like, yeah, but why me? I'm always paying attention.
You know what though? And I feel like you're secretly one of these people. There are some students who hate that attention. And there are some, I was just talking about this today with a colleague of mine, who love attention, even if it's negative. Like I could be telling someone off in the hallway and be like, what did you do? Blah, 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 blah. And they'd be like, can you stay out here with me, please? Like they just love attention, like negative or positive. And that's totally you, Enrique, I've decided.
I'm always paying attention and I'm a good student. So I don't know why you are like, so it's like, the thing is that, well, like maybe I'm a very good student. So maybe I have been in the next level.
You were good. You made
maybe, or maybe the teacher, the problem is the teacher.
That is it for segment 1.
Teacher.
Your favorite part, which involves Enrique speaking very little next time, and that'll be, I'm just kidding, segment 2. Actually, he'll have a lot to say because it's Mexican slang, so stay tuned and we'll be, he'll criticize all of it, say it's all wrong, and then say a different word, but that's okay. I'll invite him to, this is his language more than mine. I don't know a lot of Mexican slang. Yes, Roger.
This guy is asking.
Yes,
teacher,
my best student, thank you. What?
If I was you, just leave it double homework to this guy.
Just
because
Totally.
Always. You are the kind of students that always like, he didn't do the homework. Oh, you were this. Oh.
Yes.
Enrique's the one in the front being like this. Like this.
Yes, like,
Me.
I know,
please,
I know.
Let me say more.
Yeah, and I'm in the back just doing this to Enrique.
Totally. Yes. And that's what I would want to do it to Enrique, but being like paid to teach someone, you kind of are discouraged from doing that sort of thing. So you just take it with,
Actually, I think so. Whitney, can you go to the last slide that you have regarding to the important word that you said at the end, that is cuánto cuesta?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. What happened?
I don't know.
Bye. Yep.
Bye.
You just wanted to change it. And now it's like, where are you now? Where are you now? I need to refresh Facebook. I don't know where are you now. Okay, yeah, that one. I think so. You said that is the most important one. However, I will add another one more important.
Of course, because I
one.
can't be right. What?
No. Any discount?
Descuento.
Any discount.
Because it's after you're asking how much it costs. It's something that, well, bargaining is common in some places in Mexico. So it's allowed. So it's like, okay, well, you have to ask. Any discount?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not important.
I'm quiet because what I'm about to say, descuento. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Para ti. How do you say discount or to bargain? Because I think they're both very good words. Which one would you like? Discount, descuento, or rebajar is like
un descuentito, ¿no?
Un descuentito.
Lo menos, or if you're talking about Mexico, it could be, and lo menos, it's like, it's like. What's the,
or if you really want a good discount, that's una ganga, ¿sabes?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
anyway, but it was like, I was just saying that, well, it's like always it's good to ask for a discount.
Or in Colombia, it's ico. That's how they do their hitos. A lot of the times you'll see ico, ica instead of hito, ita.
Yeah, descuentico.
Gracias. Descuentico. Oh, we agree on something. Okay. All right, I'm done with my segment. Moving on.
Anyway, thank you very much, Whitney. And thank you everyone who is connected. Well, I can see that, well, it's like also our friend Joshua is connected. Garen, Abhijit, that actually Abhijit, you can see that, well, Liliana was the first one to put a post here in the comment section. So, well, what's going on with you? And, well, you're commenting that, well, it's like no rain in London today. However, Annalise, that, well, she's saying hello. She's saying that, well, we had a few spots this evening. Oh, well, anyway, it's like, it's a very weird spring that we have here. And actually also Gary Dancy, she's saying, pero hay tantos lugares hermosos en Mexico. Yes, there are a lot of places. So, well, you have like you have some students that they are like all the time following you with me.
I know, so very good students.
Yeah, so you have to give them like a
spiritual bottle of wine.
Okay, cool. So, well, anyway, following up, we were talking, and, well, actually at the end, don't forget, because, well, the Mexican Chamber of Commerce, they are like inviting us to, well, inviting all of you also to a tequila tasting that is going to be, and we're going to talk about that one later. So don't worry, Roger, you don't have to put it now. I can see your face, so don't worry. It's like, yeah, but it's just that people, they know, because, well, there's an event that is coming the 27th, if I'm right, that, well, you will have, thank you very much, Roger, that was great. So, well, we're going to have this tequila tasting that, well, the Mexican Chamber of Commerce, our friends, they are inviting you. So we're going to give you all the details so you can find this tasting and network session organized by different Chamber of Commerce of Latin America. So, well, it's like, if you want, you can register there. So don't miss this opportunity with Proximo, the Mexican Chamber of Commerce, and 1800 Tequila. So I think it's a good opportunity if you want to try and you want to taste a little bit of tequila. And talking about tequila, talking about Mexico, we had the opportunity, and I think so you're going to introduce our guest with me.
I am, definitely. All right, so our first guest is Ted Campbell. So Ted Campbell is a writer, copy editor, translator, and university professor. And he moved to China early of 2020 after living in Mexico for 10 years. And by the way, this is why we have the interview pre-recorded, because it would be, I think, like 3 a.m. his time right now. So we didn't want to do that to this poor guy. So anyways, he's a US and Canadian citizen who's visited more than 40 countries. As Enrique said earlier, he's written 2 guidebooks about Mexico, and he's had stories published by various publishing companies and a couple newspapers. And he posts travel stories and practical tips for Mexico on his popular blog, No Hay Bronca, which, by the way, is one of the top 100 blogs listed in Latin America, which is how we found him. So everyone, please enjoy this interview that we gave with Ted Campbell.
Okay, so well, Ted, thank you very much for being tonight with us. So, well, it's like, first of all, and I would like to ask you that this is interesting, is like, why did you decide to go to live in Mexico? And of course, where in Mexico have you lived?
Okay, well, do you have foreign friends living in Mexico? Because
Wow,
most of them are there for the same reason. Do you?
Okay, yeah, but tell me your reasons. Yes, we would like to know, because mainly the audience, they would like to know most. Yeah.
I want you to guess. I want you to guess. Why do foreigners move to Mexico? Young, not retired people, but why do most foreigners move to Mexico?
Well, I think there are like many reasons, and I'm going to give you like different options, maybe, or alternatives. That it could be from one,
Okay.
Letter A, the weather. Letter B, it could be the history, culture, the environment. Yeah. Letter C, it could be learning Spanish. Yeah. Letter D could be the food and of course the drinks. So, and letter E, it could be any other. All the above. All the above. All the above.
All the above.
Yeah.
Well, I was letter, what's next? F. And a lot of the foreigners I know in Mexico, F, do you have it?
I'm pretty sure which one is, and actually it starts with an F. Actually, yeah,
That's
like
like
a female.
Female, exactly. Yes.
Oh,
wife.
you were thinking in a bad way when I
No, that was you.
Oh,
that was you.
No, I was thinking about F, that is a female. Yeah.
That was you.
Oh.
That was you. I never thought that. Female. My then girlfriend and my now wife. We met in Vancouver, Canada.
Okay.
And spent a year together, and I was looking for a change in my life. I was already a teacher. I knew I could find work in Mexico, and I moved to Mexico to be with her. And 11 years later, we got married about 6 years after that. And 11 years later, we're still together and living in China. And A, B, C, D, E, absolutely. Weather, food, drinks, history, and culture, those were just bonuses. I had visited Mexico several times before that, and I knew I liked Mexico a lot, but I moved there to be with my wife. And I asked you because many of the foreigners I know, at least where I live, which I lived in Toluca, Mexico, and it's not a place where people go to retire. It's not very well known. And all the foreigners I knew that went there because their husband or their wife was Mexican.
And basically something that is interesting that you're saying, because well, in Toluca, there are a lot of companies that they are from different parts of the world. They are like companies that they are in the automotive industry, or they have like chemical industries, etc. So it's very near, and just that people they know, it's like 1 hour driving from Mexico City, and actually it's like Mexico City is growing up. So actually it's like every time is closer to Mexico City. So a lot of people they live in Toluca and they work in Mexico City, etc. But it's like that is one of the reasons that they are like a lot of foreigners coming to Toluca, because sometimes it's just part of the work, and they meet some Mexicans and they got married. And actually, I think it's like, well, my sister actually, it was something similar that happened, but she moved to US instead of like he going to Mexico City. But yeah, it's interesting that you're saying. And so I can guess that also your wife is from Toluca, or no? Where is she from?
Toluca.
Yeah, she's from
a small town called Temoya. Do you know? Are you familiar with the area?
Which place?
Oh, she's from a small town next to Toluca called Temoya. And Temoya is a center of the Otomi culture. You've heard of the Otomi people, the Otomi language. Yeah. So she is not an Otomi person, but it's a center of Otomi culture, and it's called Temoya. So
okay.
anyone
And have
from
you
Temoya
lived
listening to this?
and have you lived only in Toluca or any other parts in Mexico?
Only Toluca. I moved to Toluca and I stayed there my entire time in Mexico. Yes.
That's pretty impressive, because normally, I mean, you moved for her, obviously, so that changes things. But I would assume a lot of people move to like Mexico City if they're just wanting to start over. So let's talk about the region that we broadcasted about in our promo, and that's Chiapas.
Yes.
So you've written several articles. So I've gone through your blog, combed through many pages, and saw quite a few articles about this particular part in Mexico. So what parts in Chiapas have you been to, and what were they like?
Yes, it's definitely one of my favorite parts of Mexico, and one of the first places I visited on a very long trip. I spent at least 3 or 4 weeks there the first time I went, and I going back about every year I lived in Mexico. So I've been there over 10 times, sometimes multiple times. So I've been nearly everywhere. I mean, it's a large state. I've been to all the major tourist destinations of Chiapas. I've been to some out of the way beaches, some small towns people don't normally go to, some ruins that are a little off the beaten track. And I have crossed from Chiapas into Guatemala three or 4 times. Yeah, so
I saw those articles. Yeah, as well. Yeah.
I wrote those articles a long time ago, probably when I first started the blog and went to Chiapas. So I don't exactly remember what exactly I wrote about. But to answer your question, I know a lot about the state and my favorite places in Mexico. Absolutely.
And just like, well, if we are talking about Chiapas, it's like, why it's like why people they can expect to see in Chiapas. What are the tourist attractions? And I know that, well, we have a map because also I think, so, as we said before, you have written some guidance and everything, and the people they can give in providing some advice. But it's like, which kind of places people they can visit there?
The 2 primary tourist destinations, you can see their names at the top of the map, are San Cristobal de las Casas, which is the old colonial capital of the state, of the region, actually. A beautiful old Spanish colonial cobblestone street town up in the mountains, in a valley of the mountains, surrounded by pine forests. And then Palenque is one of the most magnificent ancient Mayan cities in Mexico, certainly in Mexico, but in all of Central America. The only thing I've seen that comes close is Tikal in Guatemala. Palenque has incredible architecture. It's in the jungle where monkeys live. And yeah, those are the 2 primary destinations of Chiapas. Everyone who goes to Chiapas should. San Cristobal is a very good home base to visit the other places on the map, such as Montebello Lakes and the Cañón de Sumidero, which is between San Cristobal and Tuxtla Gutierrez. And then using San Cristobal as a base to visit other places, and then take the trip to Palenque and visit Palenque. And there's a lot to see around Palenque too, besides the ruins.
So in that way, we can say that, well, visiting Chiapas is a good alternative for all the people, that, well, they can travel, and it's more about sightseeing and have this kind of to be close to the nature, because you were saying it's a jungle.
Yes, absolutely. It is a good alternative for someone. There's a different kind of traveler who goes to Chiapas. It's not all-inclusive resorts. There are beaches, but they're extremely undeveloped, less developed than Oaxaca. And I mean, I love the Mayan Riviera, Playa del Carmen, but it's quite developed, right? Chiapas has, as you said, nature, lots of nature, not just jungle. There's mountains, and there's the coast, there's rivers, but yes, a lot of jungle. And it's easy to travel there, but it also feels quite kind of adventurous and remote. It's quite safe. and you have everything that's wonderful about Mexico. So you have your and people from Mexico. And then you have the local Mayan culture, the different Mayan tribes who still live in Chiapas. Most people in Chiapas, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but as I remember, I believe that the majority of Chiapas residents do not speak Spanish as a first language. That could be wrong. Sorry.
No. No. There are
correct. Yeah.
I looked this up too. There are at least around 56 indigenous groups. It's like one of the greatest concentrated like indigenous region of Mexico as far as diversity and variety. So absolutely. And I think that's worth mentioning too. So I'm glad you mentioned that because I was gonna ask you about that. You touched a little bit upon like the trip and the route. So could you just talk about like, where did you start going from point A to point B? You talked a little bit about it, but also how much time did you spend in each area so that our guests who are dying to go to Chiapas have a good idea of what to do and how to plan a trip there?
Well, I spent a lot of time there. I think I was just in San Cristobal for 2 weeks, just San Cristobal. The first time I went, and I have visited other times where I only went to San Cristobal and maybe took a few day trips. A week is enough to see both San Cristobal de las Casas and Palenque. More is just even better, right? But with, say, a week, you would want 3 or 4 days in San Cristobal, and you take a day trip to the Cañón de Sumidero. There's a small town called San Juan Chamula that has a very interesting native group living there, which is a 20-minute something trip from San Cristobal de las Casas. This is the Cañón de Sumidero. That's the Grijalva River, and that's a full day. You take a boat trip up the river. As you can see there, the highest point of the canyon is 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer from the top to the bottom. When you're in a boat looking up at it, it's quite amazing. That trip is something like 4 hours up the river and back in a boat.
Wow.
I did a long time ago, but the guide was super cool and let me bring a 6-pack of beer on board. But then you have to go to the bathroom. But then you have to go to the bathroom on the way back. I don't know if they're still that cool. But yeah, exactly like that. You take a boat trip up the river and you stay in San Cristobal de las Casas for that trip. Every travel agency in town arranged a trip, but it's very up on your own on public transportation to the small town on the river outside of the canyon, Chiapa de Corzo.
Okay.
Walk up to the boat, guys. I was there a very long time. I did this trip once. Yes.
And in that way, it's like Ted. It's like you have been in US. I don't know if you have been actually in the Grand Canyon in the US.
No, I have not. I drove by it a few times, but I never actually went there.
But I think so. Well, for people, it's very interesting that they know that there's a lot of as well as we can see in the pictures. There's a lot of trees and everything, but also it's like so narrow in some places that you feel like how high are this kind of experience being there. So I think it's like, and this is very near to Tuxtla Gutierrez, right? Actually, it's in Tuxtla Gutierrez. Yeah.
It is. It's right outside Tuxtla Gutierrez. Anyone short on time basically can skip Tuxtla Gutierrez. It's a kind of I spent a bit of time there actually, but unless you're really interested in kind of modern day Mexico, not especially well developed, but regular Mexico with a big public market, there's anyone short on time should not go to Tuxtla Gutierrez. Not to say it's bad, but
there's nothing outstanding there. There's nothing outstanding or something that we can say that a part of the canyon is like there is nothing else to see there. Yeah. But actually, just that the audience, they know, it's the capital of the state. So it's like basically if you are taking a flight or if you are arriving there, so it's like the main city. But it's like something that if you are going there or you are going to make a stop because you are taking a flight to that part. So it's like, take some time to go to the canyon because actually it's just amazing. And actually you were mentioning other places like, for example, moving forward, and you were talking about the lakes or
Yeah.
and we have a previous this call. Well, we have a debate about what is a lake, what is a lagoon, etc. That well, in Spanish we have different meanings, but well, it's like in Spanish we call it like lagunas de Montebello. That well is like how many of them they are? Do you have an idea how many of them?
It's 50 something. I think it's 57 or 58. There's a lot of them, and they're all different colors. The one in the picture, as you can see, is greenish. There's bluish ones. It's gorgeous, gorgeous setting. There's a blue one, and you there's that looks like it's a zip line or something across it. There's little trails between them. You can take a boat trip on them. I found a trail that led to a little waterfall between two lakes. It's a really beautiful area. This is a long day trip from San Cristobal y las Casas. I believe I did it from the Comitán, which is in the center of the state. Comitán is basically a colonial city, exactly like San Cristobal y las Casas, except no foreign tourism to speak of. So that's a good base for visiting there. Or you can take the trip all the way from San Cris, get up really early, and make it to the Lagunas de Montebello.
Lagunas de Montebello, right?
Montebello, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And actually, it's like this one is there's like a, and I think it was the first image that well we were seeing. It's like they had a border with Guatemala, as you were saying. Mm-hmm. And this one, this line that we can see in the middle, actually, is the border between Mexico and Guatemala.
Oh, yes.
Most of them, they are in Mexico, but well, this lake is shared between Mexico and Guatemala. And actually, I think so in that stone that you can see at the bottom of the image, is saying there, this is the end of Mexico, this is the beginning, and this is and welcome to Guatemala. So this is a border that we have between the lakes. But yes, it's like, I think so. It's a, as you said, it's a long trip, and actually it's like you have to drive. Yeah, there is no way to go there. But also, I don't know if, well, I had the experience to be there, and it's just amazing. And I think so the experience driving, even the roads, they are like a lot of tours all around. But I think so driving across the jungle and listening the sounds is just like a good experience that, well, is strongly recommend to the audience, right?
Absolutely. And I have to say that you can get there without driving and colectivos. You have to take at least two. Yeah. You probably need a little bit of Spanish skills and a lot of patience. That's how I got there. I took colectivos. There.
And do you speak Spanish, Ted?
I do. At the time, I was learning Spanish. At the time, I went there on my first trip to Chiapas. So that was something like 10 years ago. And I spoke decent Spanish then, but now I'm fluent, and I was a translator for many years in Mexico. Oh. Yes, okay. Yes. My pronunciation is awful, but I am fluent Spanish speaker. Yes. Entonces hablamos en español. Si quieren hablamos en español.
Sin problema.
Pregúntame. Ya no hablo español ni nada. Entonces.
No, that's perfect. And actually, well, as we were talking about different places and everything, it's like you were talking about Palenque, and I think so that, well, when you were saying Palenque, there is also like a natural place that actually is like, it's very near to Palenque, and you recommend to visit, right?
Yes, I think you're talking about the waterfalls, right? There's several waterfalls. That's Agua Azul. And as you can see, it's not actually blue. When I went there, it looked like that. It was brown. But at certain times of the year, when there's less rain, it has this stunning glowing blue color. But if you go during the summer when it's raining, it'll look like that. There you go. That's what it's supposed to look like. Agua Azul.
In which season did you go?
I went in August because that was my university.
Okay, and
I was a university professor there.
Okay. So it was in a break that you had the opportunity to go there.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's the nice thing about teaching university is you get long vacations to take long trips. And so instead of going to Chiapas for 1 week and rushing around seeing everything, I really slowed down. I was able to go back so many times over the years. That's Agua Azul. There's another one called Muyil, which is where it's a very tall waterfall going into a pool. And that's where Predator, there's a scene from Predator, the movie Predator. If you remember Predator. Whitney, did you ever see Predator?
I haven't, but I will after this interview.
Watch Predator. One of Arnold's greatest moments, no question. And it was filmed in the area. It was filmed in Chiapas in Guatemala. And there's a scene where I think he jumps off the cliff into the waterfall, which is, there's one too. There's about 3, there's lots of waterfalls near Palenque, but there's 3 major ones that you can go to. And this one is Agua Azul. And you walk along this for at least an hour, seeing these rapids and waterfalls. Very, very beautiful place. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And in that way, it's like I would like just to encourage today. Actually, it's like, well, as Ted, he was saying, it's a jungle, and sometimes it could be like really, really warm weather. So it could be very hot and very humid. And also, if you are going, I think in the particular season that, well, Ted was that it was summer. So of course, I think so you were sweating a lot. It was like really humid and everything. So one of the advices that maybe we can do to the audience is like, if you have the opportunity to go there, I think so an extraordinary time, it could be during the winter. And actually these pictures, they have been taken during the winter because it's like a little bit cooler. So even it's still very humid and very hot. It's like a good time because, well, as Ted, he was saying, if you are going to walk 1 hour, well, you prefer not to walk when it's like really hot and the sun is so strong and everything. So it's like, and actually you can see, as you were saying, because it's not a rainy season or something, you can see the color of the turquoise water and everything. But well, it's like, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
What would be, I know, Enrique, you mentioned that you went in August, and Enrique mentioned like winter. What about like tourist season? Like if you wanted to avoid like high tide tourists who like come in and check these areas out, when would you recommend that for this and for the rest of Chiapas, if that's kind of the goal?
Avoiding tourists. All of Mexico, don't go there in Semana Santa.
Got it.
Right, which is and you know what that is. Holy Week, right before the week before Easter. I never travel. I traveled once during Semana Santa, and every other year I just stayed home. It's just too many people. Between Christmas and New Year's Eve gets very busy in Mexico, but I spent not actually Christmas, but the days leading up to it in San Cristobal de las Casas one year. And it wasn't so busy, right? If you go to Cancun or Playa del Carmen or even Oaxaca, then it'll be really, really crowded. But my one experience, I right before Christmas, I was there one year, and it wasn't so busy. It wasn't so bad. But that's a busy time. And then another busy time is a lot of Mexicans have a vacation in late July and early August. And it gets and Chiapas is a very popular destination with university students in Mexico. They go down there in groups to visit these places. So it will be a little busier then, but Chiapas in general doesn't get as busy as other parts of Mexico. So aside from Semana Santa, I would tell someone, just go for it. Yeah, it's
And now I have a different question, moving on to like the different parts. And this is what Enrique mentioned at the beginning, like the A, B, C, D, E, all the above. Let's talk a little bit about food and beverage.
Oh, yeah.
So, I've noticed that on your blog, you've talked about food, I'm sure. I didn't see a lot. I saw like the craft beers and whatnot. So can you talk a little bit about food and beverage and some of the dishes that one has to try when they're in this region?
Okay, well, that's something someone listening to this is going to think, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But honestly, Chiapas does not have this very distinctive food that a place like Oaxaca would have, right? Like everywhere you go in Mexico, you can find a Oaxacan restaurant, or even the Yucatan has distinctive food. Specific food from Chiapas, there's not that much of it. One dish that is local is called I had to write it down because it's been so long since I ate it. Asado coleto. Coletos are people from San Cristobal de las Casas, and asado means like a grill, right, or a cooking meat. Yeah. And so it's pork with a thick brown sauce made of chile ancho and garlic. It's a lot like mole, but it's not mole. That is a local dish. Other than that, there's a lot of tamales in Chiapas. The local people cook some good tamales. And then other food you get in Mexico, mole. I think that's the third best mole in Mexico. You have Puebla and you have Oaxaca, obviously 1 and 2. I would put Chiapas mole negro, number 3. Cacao. So that's meals, right? But I love going to the market, especially San Cristobal de las Casas, and you can find cacao. They call them beans, but they're actually seeds. Chocolate cacao, they're actually a seed, and you can peel them and eat them raw. They're not sweet, of course, but I find them quite good. And then they use that for obviously the mole, but then for some drinks and things like that, like get a good hot chocolate in Chiapas. So yeah, and before I go to drinks, fruit. I really love fruit. I make it a mission to try fruit I've never tried before. I'm having a great time here in China finding weird things. And Chiapas has fruit that you will not find elsewhere in Mexico easily. For example, pitaya, which is in English, it's called dragon fruit. You can find it sometimes in parts of Mexico, but you can find a lot of it in Chiapas at certain times of year. Another one is called rambutans, which is from Asia. And if you've been to anyone who's been to Thailand has seen them. They're kind of hairy. They're like lychees, but with long kind of hairs on them. You can find rambutans in season and on the streets of Chiapas all the time. Other things like that. So it's I've seen the largest guayabas I've ever seen in my life. A guayaba in English is guava. Guava, right? They're about this big, right? I've seen them this big in Chiapas. Huge guayabas, beautiful, delicious guayabas. So fruit is a good one.
And what about the smell of them?
Oh, my wife hates it. Like I can't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
really?
they stink the house.
I love it. It smells.
I love it
really,
too. Yeah.
Yes, it's like.
Yeah, I love it too.
It's you know what? This kind of smell that when you're entering to a house or something, it's like. This is guava smell. Yeah, it's like you recognize it immediately. Yeah.
I love it. I just bought a bunch a week ago here in China, and I put them in the fridge, and now the butter smells like guava. My wife, they infused the butter with it. Anyway, I love them. I love them too.
And actually,
let me tell you about drinks. Oh,
yeah.
Yes,
sorry, go ahead.
That's what I was gonna just follow up on because this is very important.
Well, the tourist brochures for Chiapas, many tourist brochures for Chiapas called La Tierra del Café, Chocolate y Café, right? Chocolate. There's a lot of coffee plantations in Chiapas, and you can buy whole bean coffee in San Cristobal and go to many coffee shops. Really good coffee there. Every time I go to Chiapas, actually the nice fancy coffee shops with beautiful whole bean coffee, I usually just go to the market and find the local Mayan ladies with big ground bags, and I come home. I used to come back with kilos of coffee every time. So definitely coffee. The native people makes a drink called pozol, which looks exactly like pozole without the e. Pozol, and it's a ground corn in hot water, maybe cold water, and they mix chocolate with it. Supposedly it's an energy drink. You get a huge styrofoam cup of it. It's a meal, basically. It'll fill you up. Pozol. And then tascalate. I've had that at restaurants, actually, and it's like pozol, but the corn is ground very, very fine, and it's this kind of orange powdery drink. It's really delicious, really different. And of course, alcohol, posh, P-O-X, pronounced posh, sometimes spelled P-O-S-H, is basically moonshine, corn whiskey. It's basically corn in Tennessee or Kentucky in the mountains, and you get same as Chiapas, you get Coca-Cola bottle filled with posh, costs about, 10 pesos maybe or less. I don't know how much alcohol is it, but it's more than 100 proof, and it'll light a fire under you. And just like pulque, Enrique, did you ever have posh?
No, actually no.
No,
and I think
really?
So as the way that you spell it, I think it's like a Mayan word, maybe.
Yes,
yeah?
absolutely.
As you were saying, yes, it's like that's interesting. And no, I haven't tried. I have to put it in my list. Yes, of course.
Yeah, put on your list. You can find posherias But if you go to a fancy hipster posheria, you'll spend money on your posh. Just like now, mezcal is quite fancy now, and there's expensive mezcals. The best mezcal in Oaxaca costs, you buy it on the side of the road, right? And same with posh. So that San Juan Chamula community, they have posherias, like real posherias, like the you go to the guy's house, and they also have curados, right? Just like pulque, you have the Jamaica posh, and they probably have a guayaba posh, fruit poshes, which are delicious, frankly. But I always buy a plain one too. That's one of my stops. I buy my coffee and I buy my posh. And so anyone who likes drinking should definitely get a posh. Out of the bar, right? Like go to some old man's house. He'll give you samples and then
and that is the main thing. And I think it's something that I would like to highlight that well. It's like there are two things that they are important to highlight here. First, you said like the part about going to the markets. It's like going to the market is a complete experience because actually in the markets in Mexico, for example, if you see a fruit that you haven't tried in your life, maybe the person who is selling the fruit is going to give you a piece to try. Mm-hmm. So they are going to be very honestly, very nice, like saying, you haven't tried this. And they cut one and they give you a taste. And of course, you can buy only one or you can buy 1 kilo. Some of the things that I recommend, and also I have had some people that, when they visit Mexico, it's just taking them there and of course, trying smelling the different fruits because they smell really nice. Even, for example, the guava, your wife, she hates it, but it's like for the rest of them, maybe we like it. And you can try. Some of them, they are interesting. You can try them. I think it's the best experience. And something important just to know there is like a lot of people, they get ill in Mexico. They have bad stomach. Okay, that is going to happen. And it's not because it's not healthy or it's not because it's not washed properly. It's because your organism is not used to eat that kind of food. That could be spicy, that it could be, as you were talking about, pulque, or the quantities of alcohol that maybe they are so high and it's not like this kind of process. It's more like homemade. So of course that could happen. Yes, that could happen. But it's like, actually, as a Mexican, me, sometimes when I'm going to Mexico, that happened to me too. Really? Because it's like something's a little bit more greasy. So also I carry all my time my omeprazole or something just to avoid any issues that later on I have a terrible gastritis or something. So it's like something that they have to consider. It's not because it's not proper wash. It's not about the water. It's not about the process. It's about our organisms and our bodies. They are not used to eat that kind of food. But you can see Ted is alive and he's eating in Mexico, in China, in the US, everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah, you have to, like, even the water, even if it's drinkable, like sometimes you just can't do that because you're afraid of how you'll react to it. But yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Exactly.
I'd actually like to say something about that. I first of all, I do completely agree with you. I think spicy food affects people sometimes. But honestly, like I almost never got sick in Mexico. Like 10 years in Mexico, I may have gotten sick 3 times, honestly. And I have a pretty tough stomach, but I honestly believe that, and we're more aware of this now with the epidemic, but I don't know how many foreigners I've met who complained about that they were sick. And then I watch them go to the bathroom and come out and they don't wash their hands. Or I watch the same, or maybe something less obvious, but like taking public, I meet a foreigner, we decide to take a trip together. We take the bus, we go to the restaurant, the food comes and they grab it, right? Yeah. You're on a bus, you're touching all kinds of things. You got to wash your hands. And I strongly believe that, I do not believe Mexico is a place where you automatically get sick. I don't believe, and I know you're not saying that, but people do think that Moctezuma's revenge and these things. No,
Tell us a little bit about that revenge. What is that?
Never happened.
We know Moctezuma revenge, and we know maybe as Mexicans, but the audience knows. What is the Moctezuma revenge?
Oh, it's diarrhea. That's what people say about. Yeah, I mean, that's food poisoning. That's what people say. It's revenge on this. I suppose the Spanish, but that would be the Moctezuma would be getting revenge on the Spanish. But I know, like I said, first of all, never eat, for example, in a metro station Mexico, like obviously.
Oh,
But like, yeah, like no, some places you don't eat. But like there's a very good San Cristobal de las Casas. There's a little taco cart on the corner right by all the bars. Leave the bar at 3, 4 a.m. and get a plate of tacos. I've never gotten sick doing that. But I
think that you have a lot of. I think that you purify your body before. Yeah,
maybe.
When you build
Maybe,
immunity, when you're in a place for so long, like your body just gets used to it. But for travelers and tourists, they're coming and going, so there's less of that forgiveness in that time to build.
But I agree. But my point is, tourists have to be like a lot more like washing their, after you take public transportation, never touch food without washing your hands, right? Like just don't drink your beer from the bottle, right? They get recycled. There's a very distinct buildup under the rim of the beer bottle. So in Mexico, they give you a glass, right? Pour it into the glass. Drink your Coca-Cola from the glass straight from the bottle. In Mexico, they give you a straw. Well, not so much anymore because there's campaigns against using straws, right? Which I agree with, but pour it into the glass, right? Mm-hmm. There's very simple things travelers can do without being paranoid. I hate it when they say, "Is this in English? Is this ice made from purified water?" It's like, of course it is. Like they Mexicans have just as high standards for cleanliness in their restaurants. Not in the metros, but at restaurants, of course, things are clean. Like,
but that's very good that you're.
Yeah, but with the pandemic, I also think that people are going to treat traveling and hygiene very, very differently as well. You know, like
I haven't been sick since I've every year of my life I've had 2 or 3 bad colds. Ever since the pandemic, everyone wearing a mask everywhere. I haven't
like the
had
hand
a cold yet.
Sanitizer, like before you get into the tube, after you get out of the metro, as you call it, the subway. Yeah. So
wearing the mask. Yeah.
I think that myth is going to go away as well, because I think people now with the pandemic and after are going to be more careful. But that's a good point that you make.
And actually, I think so. It's interesting because it's like all these kind of things that people they have talking that it's more about habits that we have when we are traveling than the food. And of course, if you're going to Mexico and you're going to try spicy food, of course you can try it. If you eat a lot, that happens to everyone. We're gonna have a bad stomach because it's the amount of things that you're eating. So it's like the amount of spicy food, the amount of things that you're trying. That is like sometimes, of course, that would happen with everything. And I just want to go a little bit back in a way that, when you were talking about different places, and we have seen these extraordinary landscapes that people, they can enjoy. But talking about culture and talking about the places, because, you were saying that, visiting Agua Azul waterfalls or these cascadas is very close to Palenque. And what we can find, because you were talking about the Mayans, the history, and you compared actually Palenque with Tikal. And I think so places like this ones is the ones that people, they can find there. What was your experience being there between the pyramids, or this kind of the place, Palenque, and also surrounded by the jungle with all those noises that you can listen?
Well, it's hard to put into words. Palenque is not only one of the best places in Chiapas, it's absolutely one of the best places to visit, period, in Mexico, but in the world. I mean, look at that, right? That's the palace of Palenque. And you can, that was the ancient palace, and you can climb up those steps and go inside of it. There's little passageways, there's staircases. That is the pyramid of, some guy, I cannot pronounce his name, Patel. His tomb was at the bottom of it. They discovered his tomb, and he had a jade burial mask. And that's now in the Anthropology Museum in Mexico City. This one, I'm not sure you can climb anymore, but when I went there,
I think so. You can now. Yeah.
I climbed it when I went there, though. It's really steep, right? So they restrict climbing. Yes, because it's bad for the pyramids, but also because it's really easy to slip and fall down these things, right? That's why they do it.
And I think so sometimes people, they don't realize, but you know what? When I was a child, it was allowed, for example, to go to the top to the Chichen Itza castle. And the problem is not go to go upstairs because it's like you are seeing all the steps in front of you. The problem is go downstairs. When you see it, because they are very high and they are very small, the steps, so they are like very narrow. So it's like going down, it's just difficult. And it could be, yes, the people, they can fall down. And as you were saying, it could be also slippery because it's like the stones. Yeah, but they are very old now.
Absolutely. And you asked me how you feel there, right? And that's a good question because you feel when you go to Machu Picchu, or you go to like, like the great, I'm sure I've never been there, but like imagine what it would be like to see the pyramids of Egypt, any of these great ancient cities, which Palenque undoubtedly is. And you mentioned Chichen Itza, which is incredible and I love it. But the difference between Palenque and Chichen Itza is Palenque is overgrown with jungle, right? Like there's this central area that's been cleared. But then you hike into the jungle and go into deeper areas, and there's monkeys swinging from the trees and howling. There's tropical birds. You might see a big snake slithering by. It's quite wild. The first time I went to Palenque, I went back 2 days later. I visited all the ruins, and then I went to the waterfalls, the ones you showed, Agua Azul, and the next day I thought, well, I'm gonna go back. It was cool. I want to see it again, right? You climb one of those pyramids, the ones you can see people on that one. Climb up there and just sit there and look over the site and remember that this Palenque declined earlier than other Mayan sites. Chichen Itza was still a bustling capital when Palenque collapsed. Nobody knows exactly what happened to the Mayans, right? They think it's the water supply was affected. If they were warring with each other a lot, Palenque lost their war with Tonina, which is nearby. But Palenque declined 1,200 years ago. It was abandoned. So when the local Mayan people knew about it, of course, and the first, I think they were European explorers. It might have been Americans actually who started like really excavating it, I believe in the 50s. It was covered in jungle. It looks like large hills, right? Like with trees everywhere. Quite impressive. This central area with these pyramids is less than 2% of the city. It continues off into the jungle, far beyond the borders of the national park. All these little structures and things. It's quite an impressive site. It's really, really large and beautiful and amazing. Yeah.
Well, I think it's like really, and of course, well, people, they shouldn't miss these places, as you were saying, because also it's a mixture, and it's like you are very close to the nature, and also it's the view, being there, the vibe, everything is something that, well, definitely you should put it in your list when you are traveling to Mexico, and Chiapas should be one. And also, if people, they want to know more about Chiapas, how can they learn more about that, Ted?
Interesting you asked. I wrote thank you. I wrote a guidebook about Chiapas. I updated it in 2018, and the prices are probably out of date for public transportation, but everything is still there. It's an itinerary. It's a 5-day itinerary, so you can see San Cristobal and Palenque and a few other places around there, including the Cañón de Sumidero in 5 days. And then I have an appendix that explains exactly how to get to Lagunas de Montebello, Comitán, the beaches, which very few people go to the beach in Chiapas. When I went there, that would have been 2017. There was no Wi-Fi. The hotel I stayed at did not have a shower. I dipped a bucket into a big drum of water and poured the bucket over my head. There's about 5 hotels on the beach, and I ate dinner at the hotel every night. There were no restaurants there. Amazing. So my guide is on Amazon. It's on my blog. My blog is called No Hay Bronca. Oh, I'm sure you'll introduce it for me too. But
I will. And I just found the guide. It's very, if you type in Chiapas.
But actually, we are going to share with the audience, you know, that well, they know exactly where they can find, because I think for your blog you have a lot of tips, and also you have only one book, or do you have another one? Do you have another one?
I have one for Cancun and the Mayan Riviera. Ooh. And it's the same kind of idea to go to start in Cancun, stay in the cheap part of Cancun, head out to the Valladolid, which is next to Chichen Itza, go down to Playa del Carmen, go to Tulum. The Cancun one I wrote because I was on a long trip. I traveled all the way down to Honduras, and then my wife got a vacation from her job, and said, I can come out and meet you. And I traveled all the way back up. I went through Palenque, actually, all the way back to Cancun, and she had 5 days. And I said, all right, let's go here, and here. And afterwards, I found the company. It's called Unanchor. They're the publishers, and they publish itineraries. I thought, wow, that little trip I did with my wife, then she was my girlfriend, would be perfect. That you can see these things without rushing, you know, plenty of time to sit on the beach, but see some culture too and save money. So yes, there's 2, anyone who visits my blog will see their links to Amazon on the page that you see on every site.
And actually, as you said, maybe the prices, they are like, we need to update that prices, but I think it's a good idea, you know, that people, they know what are the main places that they should visit when they are like traveling to these areas. And also it's like, as you were saying, not only Mexico, it's like all this part of the Riviera Maya that well, it's like some places that well, also, I'm saying not Mexico, but well, Riviera Maya is Mexico, but well, all the different locations and some tips that, well, you as a tourist is like you shouldn't miss when you have the opportunity to be there. And also it's like all the complete audience is like I will take a look also just to see which places I missed when I have the opportunity to go there. And of course, yes, it's cool. Strongly recommend to people to go to that area.
Yeah, cool, thank you very much. Yes, I have there. I'm someone who I didn't sent there on assignment for a week to take notes. I spent a lot of time there over the years. And I do have a lot of kind of insider tips, and my email address is in the blog. And I got coincidentally, I got an email from a woman today who bought my guide and thanked me for it. And which is great. Sometimes people ask questions, sometimes they just write, and I really appreciate that. And so yes, that's part of the deal is you can ask me. I think it's pretty clearly explained, but yeah, it's there. So thank you for mentioning it on air for me.
Of course. 2 other really quick questions. Where can we find you social media wise? Because we have your blog, we have the links. Are you on? Because I couldn't find you on social
not
media.
Really. Yeah, not really. I have a blog. I am a writer, so I write a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I did a lot of translating work. I do a lot of writing work, and I wrote my blog just because I enjoy it. Since I moved to China, I haven't really updated it very much. Yeah. So yes, I have Facebook. I check it.
and actually, it's like, as you said, I have noticed that well, that, yeah, I have seen your Facebook. And something that well is like, as you were saying, your blog is No Hay Bronca, that I think Whitney is going to tell us what is the meaning of No Hay Bronca in a couple of minutes more, because well, she has her section about some slang, so she will let us know.
Yes, I will.
No Hay Bronca.
Yeah. But I actually wanted to add too, like if people want to get in touch with you, they just leave a comment on your blog, because that's what I did, and here you are with us today. But I will
exactly.
But I will talk about No Hay Bronca in my segment later. Definitely, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah. But the last question I have.
I'm sorry. Just let me say, I do have Instagram. My wife doesn't.
Oh, sorry.
My wife doesn't, but it's No Hay Bronca blog. But yes, anyone who wants to contact me, I do check my blog regularly, even though I don't have the time to update it as much as I'd like. So yes, leave a comment. I will get it, and that's the best way to contact me. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
No. I'm glad you did, because I couldn't find you, but that doesn't mean you don't exist on Instagram. And one final question: what do you miss the most about Mexico? Name one thing if you can.
Oh, I should say friends and family, because I miss friends and family a lot, but I miss the food. Damn, I miss food.
Yeah, just to be polite and to be nice, I'm going to say friends and family. However, I really need the food. Yeah, okay.
Of course, of course. But I we can Skype, we can Zoom. I can't Zoom a taco,
Yeah, that's right.
There's a Mexican restaurant. I'm in Guangzhou, China, and there are a couple Mexican restaurants here. We've been to several of them, and it's good. There's a decent Mexican restaurants here, but they're expensive. It's foreign food. It's expensive. There's nothing like taqueria, tacos al pastor, una chelita, la cajuama. Oh my God! In Toluca, there was adobada right? Adobada tacos. There's chorizo tacos. Oh, there's green
Okay,
chorizo.
stop.
No,
Yeah,
you're
stop.
it's all
Enrique, you're in London. You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about. No,
Yeah.
I miss. And seriously, I miss Mexican people a lot too. My students were wonderful. The people in general, cheerful, hardworking, nice people, good environment, and I really miss traveling. Just hop on a bus and go.
Yeah.
Never made plans. 2 days before my summer vacation, well, actually, in the end, I started flying a lot. It's very cheap to fly in Mexico. But if I didn't buy a flight a week in advance, I would just take a taxi to the bus station and just get on. Wake up Chiapas next morning.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to love about Mexico. There's a lot about Mexico, but the food.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ted, it has been a pleasure. It has been like very complete what you provide us the information, and also for the audience that they will know more about what is Chiapas in Mexico, the different places they can visit. So thank you very much, and hopefully you will come soon again just to talk about the other places that we didn't spoke, and also to talk in a different way about the Riviera Maya and more about your experience also in Toluca, cycling, the Nevado de Toluca, that is a volcano, etc. So well, thank you very much, Ted, for being tonight with us. And well, enjoy your day there in China.
My night.
Night. Your night.
Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night. Yeah.
It's my night.
Okay, your night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Enrique. Thank you. Thank you both. And it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers. Well, he is Ted Campbell, so thank you very much. And also, well, it's like we have already our next guest, and we're going to change a little bit the topic, and we're going to talk about music. So just that, just to remind you that, well, it's like we're going to show you some of the events that they are oncoming. So, well, our next guest, he is Dukus, and he's British-Colombian producer. He's a sound engineer and recording artist from South London, and bringing the gap between melodic rap and singing. His Colombian roots have enabled him to produce Spanish and English songs side by side. And actually, he has a recent success of taking Spanish, featuring with DCUs and Sin Palabras, making him one of the hottest emerging Latin producer artists coming from the UK. So I would like to say hello to our friend Dukus. Hi, how you doing, Dukus?
Hey, how's it going?
All good. How are you?
Good. Relaxing.
Excellent. So, well, first of all, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And well, I would like if you can tell us about yourself as an artist, and also what role did music play in your life when growing up?
Well, my dad was a piano teacher, so I played piano from the age of 3. So that's basically what got me into music. But he was very, very strict with me. So I'd have to play the piano every day before school. He'd pick me up from school, so I wasn't allowed to hang around any of the other kids. And he'd make me play piano after school as well. So it was very strict. I wasn't allowed to listen to any salsa or anything like that. But my mum loved a lot of the Latin music, so I used to steal some of her music and listen to a bit of Celia Cruz and Hector Lavoe. And that's kind of how I got into the whole Latin thing. And then I started going back and forth to Colombia for like Christmases and stuff like that. And I really fell in love with the culture, the music. My family are from Medellin. So, I spent a lot of time in Medellin, and, there's so much reggaeton, so much salsa in Cali, when I was traveling. And I love dancing salsa and bachata in general. So, I never made music in Spanish, but growing up and being in Colombia, around the environment, the food, and just the overall culture, just listening to music on the buses when you just hop on a bus, I just thought I just need to incorporate it in my music somehow, and then I'd say 2018 is when I first started incorporating Spanish, a bit more Spanish into my music. I didn't really speak that well, but the more I started going out with, going out to Medellin and speaking with my cousins and stuff like that, I just thought it's just a natural progression,
Interesting. So before we get into that, because that's definitely a topic we want to talk about, let's talk about just the music as far as like the genre. So like what genre is your music? And I know you talked a little bit about the Colombian roots, but how have they specifically influenced your sound?
I would say, I think I probably make easily, you could say it's reggaeton music, but then there's a bit of Latin trap in there, and then some of the stuff is a bit Latin pop sounding. So I think it's like it's a mixture of reggaeton, and I'd say maybe UK Latino, if you want to call it that. I think that's the new subgenre or the genre we're trying to establish over here, the UK Latino sound. So I'd say reggaeton UK Latino, I think.
Okay.
And the Colombian influence, yeah, I mean, it's very big. I listen to a lot of Latin music in general, and I'm constantly listening to like reggaeton, salsa, and bachata in general. So in Colombia, especially Medellin, there was so much. Sorry, did my camera go? Okay. I used to listen to a lot of reggaeton because my cousins would go to a lot of reggaeton places, and at first I was like, "Ah, this is too much, you know."
Yeah.
But after a while, it was like I kind of started understanding it more. I started going to a lot of the I Love Reggaeton parties, Reggaeton Savage parties over here in London when it was in Coco. And go to all the Latin places that you would go to. So yeah, I'd say I'm quite heavily influenced by the Latin culture and Colombian culture in general, to be honest.
And Dukus, I have a question, obviously, about your roots, and then you've been there in Colombia and here in UK. Your songs are in English and Spanish. Can you, how you decide which language you're gonna use for your songs? It was just go for the English because it's a bigger market, or mix? How was it?
I mean, I started using a bit of Spanglish in the music because I just thought I just want people to kind of understand. I want people to, both people that listen that are English speaking, to kind of get the English side, but then obviously the market I'm aiming for is the Latin territory market. So in a way, some of the feedback I got from the Latin territory curators and people who work in Spotify and Apple, they said, you know, we really like the music, but maybe it's got a bit too much English. Then the English people were like, well, there's a bit too much Spanish in there. So it was a bit of like, you know, well, I kind of want to make the music I feel I should make. But then I think lately all my new material has a lot of Spanish in it. It's just something I've gravitated towards. I don't know. I'm kind of learning. My Spanish has gotten better over the last year or so. So I'm kind of doing a lot more Spanish stuff, and I'll play it to like my Spanish friends, people that help me songwrite a little bit, and then they'll kind of help me say, nah, change this, make this better. You can say this better. Because I just want the stuff to do well, even in the Latin territory. I think that means more to me, more than just the English territory. So I kind of lean towards more the Spanish side, if I'm being honest.
So and that
Spanish,
way,
this Spanish is cool.
Yeah, no, I
and
love Spanish. I love the sounds.
And sorry, it's like just talking about your music, and I don't know if you can tell us a little bit more, like about what have been some of your biggest singles, and what will you be releasing next?
Well, I released a song called Talking Spanish, which actually was my first song that had Spanish on it. For me, it's quite a basic sound. Like my Spanish isn't so great on it. But that song got picked up by quite a few playlists on Spotify and ended up getting over 1 million streams. So that's kind of like been the most successful song that I've done. I didn't even do a video for it. It was just something that just happened organically. Someone heard it, was like, hey, this is great. I'm gonna put it in this playlist. Then someone called AJ Callejero, he was looking after all the Spotify Latin playlists, and now he's working at Google for YouTube. He heard the track and was like, this is great. He sent it to all his people in Spotify. They put it in editorial playlists, and then it got more traction. And then, so that's one of the biggest songs that I worked on as an artist. And obviously, as I'm a producer as well, I've done loads of stuff for like UK rap and trap, for the trap scene over here. So there's loads of stuff that I've worked on that have been quite successful. I'm quite lucky in that sense to have been given those opportunities. But yeah, I say Talking Spanish probably the most successful song that I've worked on that has gone on to do big things. And yeah, releases. I don't know if you heard of Desta French. She's a female artist who's doing quite well over here in the UK. She's Colombian, Italian. So I've got a couple of songs with her that we've got in the pipeline. I've got an artist called Julie that I'm managing at the moment as well. So I've got a few songs with her coming out. Fluffy and Kiko as well. They're UK Latino artists. I've got a few songs with them coming out. And I would like to work with a few English UK artists. I've got a few Albanian artists that I'm working with as well. So there's a few things. I don't want to say too much and say, I'm working with this person in case it doesn't happen. I'm always touching wood, and I just want to make sure that the songs are actually going to get released, rather than say, it might happen. All the people that I've mentioned, those are songs that are definitely happening. So it's all good to mention them.
Yeah, you don't want to like jinx anything. I totally get that, because the second you say it's happening, it could fall.
Yeah, it just shifts the energy in the universe, and for some reason, it just somehow something changes, So
always, especially in these times, these very trying times. So you mentioned a little bit about the fact that you're not just a singer. You wear, as we like to say, many hats. Like you're a producer, sound engineer. I believe you said you're managing someone as well. So could you tell us what that entails? I know you said who you've worked with, but maybe under those different roles, and what is your day-to-day life like, and doing all these things? Like, what occupies most of your time? What do you just tell us about that a little bit, please?
Well, I work for a lot of record labels over here as a sound engineer. So I'll quality control a lot of music that you hear on the radio, whether it be drill, trap, rap, R&B, even some pop stuff I've done. I've quality controlled a lot of stuff for Bacardi, Adidas. So, I done an Adidas campaign for Stormzy where I was in charge of the music. So I fixed all the music for his clothing line range that he had with Adidas. I did a campaign which is still ongoing for Bacardi. So all the music that you hear on most of Bacardi's social media and adverts, I've basically produced that music.
Okay.
So there's little things like that. But on a day-to-day, I fix a lot of music for a lot of the top rap artists, because I started doing rap music from early in terms of like understanding it, how to mix it, how to fix the voices. It's just something I've done well over the years. I worked with Craig David when he was first kind of doing his thing, and so I worked on his second album. I wrote a song for him called Spanish. So it's just one of those things where I've always been a creative person in studios. I never went to university or anything like that. Like I said, my dad taught me from early. So I've always understood music, the theory of music. I hear a song and it's like, I can't help but analyze it, how it was structured, what they recorded it with. Oh, they probably recorded it with this microphone. Sounds like they're using this. You know what I mean? It's like my brain with music works a little bit different. So I've always been put in a space and I know how to add to something to make it better, whether it be music, fashion, managing, or creative roles within, a record label or a radio station or for an artist. So yeah, I mean, that's basically my day-to-day, just basically working in music. That's my full time. I have no other jobs.
That's really not only just ambitious, but very impressive. Very, very impressive.
Thank you.
Of course. Oh, you're on mute. Roger's on mute, not you. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
He has a question.
Okay, sorry. Well, just listening all your day by day life is everything you've done, and obviously it comes from early, but how it feels, because obviously you've been that way, living that way, how you reach the top of UK charts, you being picked up by Spotify, and then how it feels, which is meant the most to you, and why?
I think when you're involved in good projects, obviously it's a good feeling. It means people value your work, and just enough people have heard something, and maybe someone would have heard your music in a different place, or like let's say I worked on Giggs's album. He's got an album called Landlord, which I think went to #2 or #5 in the UK charts. So he showed me a message that Drake sent to him, and Drake was like, damn, I really love this album. This is motivating me to make music. So to know that I played a part in that is obviously a good feeling. So that motivates you. The last album I worked on was Fredo's album, and that went to #2 in the charts. So when those little things happen, it's a good feeling. But obviously I want to be able to make more of an impact, because I'm always helping people. So it's like you're working in a film. So the people that win the Oscar might be the director, or it might be the actors. So I'm kind of more like behind the scenes. So it feels good. But at the same time, I'd like to make enough of an impact to open more doors for people, or maybe help my family. And do you know what I mean? I think that's kind of like the good thing of getting in these positions, is being able to help other people. And I think that's kind of what I want to be able to do more, get in those positions so I can help more people. So yeah, it's good, but obviously there's more to achieve. I'm always thinking about what's next.
And just talking about next that you were saying, and actually it's like, well, you were telling us about the different ideas that you have to work with any other artists and everything. But it's more like, what do you think about that? I would like to say, what are you working currently? And also is now that the lockdown is almost lifted, if there is any oncoming performances that maybe you are going to start doing?
Yeah, I mean, I plan to my plan is to go to America and do some stuff over there. I've been invited to do some festivals. I think one in Croatia, a reggaeton festival. So, I mean, once these things open up again, I definitely want to be able to do a bit more festivals. I know La Clave Festival is probably happening again in August. So there's a possibility of performing there. And there was meant to be a few big shows that was meant to happen in 2020 that didn't happen. So if they happen again, I don't want to jinx anything. So if those things do happen, then yeah, more than likely you'll see me on a stage supporting a big reggaeton artist or a few artists in the near future. I think that's the main aim. And then possibly maybe even some features with some of these big artists. I think that's the next aim,
Yes.
Well, of course, you have to let us know when that will happen, that well, we can invite the audience. Yeah. That well, it's like, yeah, just to tell them where are you going to have any performance or where you are going to appear. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
so yeah, I mean, like most of the stuff you can check on Google. So if you type in my name, Dukus, Dukus,
yeah.
you'll basically be updated with most of the stuff that I've got online. I mainly use Instagram and Spotify.
Yeah.
I use Twitter a little bit, but I'll definitely post all the details once I get the stuff and let you guys know as well. I'll definitely let you.
Yeah, because then we can post it as well. And by the way,
Cool.
as an American, you have my stamp of approval. Like, come play for us in the States.
That'd be. I badly want to go to Miami and LA and just work with some of the talent over there. I think that's been one of my dreams for a while. And I was meant to go Miami in 2020. And then it just didn't happen because obviously the pandemic. So
yeah.
I was a bit bummed out because I was meant to meet up with Tiny, who's Bad Bunny's producer, meet up with some of these people, and then it was like, nope, Corona. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, it's just the way it is. It's happened to everybody. So It's just one of those things that it just happens, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a very interesting question. I think
Sure.
We haven't asked this before, and we've had many musicians and singers on the show. If you could change one thing about the music industry, what would it be? Aside from COVID, that's not really about the music industry.
I think it would be kind of more help and education to like the up and coming artists. So that the more up and coming artists have more of a chance to make it, because at the moment the industry, to be honest with you, is a bit of a boys' club. It just feels like a private members club sometimes. So obviously some people are more fortunate than others, but it is like I would like to see more people given more opportunities and fair chances so that their music is heard rather than, you know, this round table of people that say, you know, we should let these be the next ones and they get all the chances. You know what I mean? So I think I'd like to see more people get in positions of power so that they can give more people opportunities to have more chances to hear their music. And that, you know, like I said, I really want to champion the UK Latino sound. So if I get to a certain position, it will be to help all that next generation of UK Latinos kind of take the step up so that they can be heard on like FM radios. They can get put more in like playlists with more traction so that they can start generating some money from their music. Because right now, there's just not enough in that sector for the UK Latino. Whereas if you say you started putting on a mask and you wanted to do drill music, even if you're semi okay, just because the platforms are there, they can literally just go to the top and blow up and get loads of following on their Instagram because the way things are set up at the moment with that type of music. So it'd be more like getting into like, you know, for positions of power so that more people can have more opportunities.
Yeah, I really like that. And we'll obviously hopefully I hope that you get to do that. And when you do, let us know, because we would love to promote those artists as well on the show.
Sure, you know, I'm gonna keep you updated with all the new artists that I come across.
Perfect. Please do.
Yes, and before the last question where we can find you, I would like to also add a little bit on what you were saying, and that's a very important and it's a very fair what you say. Here in the Latin American show, we have a lot of Latin American artists. They need a little bit, that push, that push. So we're trying to be a platform, and obviously with the help of you, people like you, when then you have some connections or some bridges to do it, please let us know, because this platform is for pushing a lot of artists, and the talent we have in here in the Latin American show has been amazing. Thank you very much, Dukus.
Great.
Before you go, tell us, where can our viewers find you and your music? Obviously, just say it again, please.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram if you type in Dukus, Dukus. If you type Dukus in Google, all my socials should come up. Sometimes I change the S for a 5, just stylistically, but you should find me DUKU5 or DUKUS on Google. My music should come up. I'll come up on Spotify. And then, yeah, you can just check out my music there. I've got links to my website there where you can check out a lot of my works. And yeah, you can type me on YouTube as well, Dukus, and some of my songs should come up. I've got some stuff with Warner at the moment as well, so they've helped me release some music. So you should see some releases under the Warner record label. And the last record I put out called Bambi, they released it, and I have got some more stuff in the future coming out on Warner. But the stuff I've shown you, like the Nobody video, Salvaje, Un Problema, those are songs that I did independently myself. So yeah.
Actually, yes, it's very easy for people that, well, if you, as you were saying, Google it, it's going to appear your playlist to the right side. So you just need to type Dukus, and it appears, of course, your Twitter and your different Instagram and different social networks. So people, they can follow you very, very easy.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Whitney.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the support of the Latin American artists. And as I said, and you have the open doors here in Latin American show when
thank you so much.
You want to come
I
back.
really appreciate it. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Enrique. Thank you, Whitney. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Dukus. And well, now I think it's time to listen to some music from Dukus. So, well, it's like, we're going to listen Nobody. So, well, thank you very much. And it's like, over you, Roger. Yeah.
the shoe gun. Yeah, we get to it, keep the boots on. Me gusta cuando dice papi. Le gusta oro, nada fácil. Tengo manos en la cintura como Ducati. Y si salimos, tú sabes, entramos gratis. Yeah, ella se activa. Quiere fumar la califa. Y solo con la mirada te hace mucho y no te olvidarás. Nobody, she does it like nobody. Nobody, step in the room like nobody I know. 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 Nobody I. She do it like no one. Anyone telling me different, they can go do one. Yeah, they can move on. If not, I'll leave in my feet red, no la bouton. Y ella la que manda. Ella quiere designer como panda. Ella se pone en las rodillas como santa. Están solos, la verdad no se aguantan. No, se me sube como brindis. Ella tiene el código da Vinci. Yeah, is that you when you see me? Yeah, is that you when you see me? Yeah. Nobody, she does it like nobody. Nobody, step in the room like nobody I know. Nobody, she does it like nobody. Yeah, nobody, step in the room like nobody I know. 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 Nobody I. Quiere con el colombiano. Boom, boom, boom. Con el colombiano. Boom, boom, boom. Ocho, ocho. Con el loco, loco. You already know.
Well, that was Dukus. Now it happened to him. It happened to him.
It happens to all of us. Just
What
too
a-
bad
what-
he wasn't on mute during part of my first segment. Okay, yep, go back.
But finally, we give some beautiful music to Mr. Enrique. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Roger. And well, this is it's Dukus. So well, it's very easy to find it. You just need to Google it, Dukus, or if not, we already shared the different social networks that you can find him. Yeah.
Oh, when you're done, please finish first.
Okay. So well, we already shared the Instagram and the YouTube where you can find more music from Dukus that believe me is extraordinary. And also, as he said, and also as we have said many times here in the Latin America show, let's support all these new artists and the artists that they are doing different things. As he was saying, well, he's not only an singer, he's also a producer. So I think so we just need to be more cooperative and also support each other. So this is a good opportunity to improve and also to, well, to support all these new artists. And well,
Yeah.
sorry, Whitney, what do you want
Now
to
you
say?
can.
No,
Now you're saying that. Now you're saying that, Enrique, about supporting. Here in London, we have several friends, which they promoting the sounds, the Latino sounds and the mix. So they're welcome to support all the new artists as well. You know? So we invite them as well. You can see Latin American show.
Okay, and yes, and just one other thing. By
And
the
another thing is that
Okay.
no,
I'm
Whitney,
into it. I cheat. It's being interrupted.
Oh,
the
sorry, go
time.
with me.
No, it's fine. What I was going to say is after this episode, I am going to, so within the next hour, you will see all of Dukus's music that is on Spotify on our playlist. So follow the Latin America show on Spotify. There is only one. And in case, just if you want to double check, it has the logo too in our, yes, just one. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not on mute, so they actually know what I'm saying. So I will update that within the hour, and then you can listen to his music. Are you done?
You were. I was just supporting you, Whitney. It was more like all the things that you were saying. I was just like trying to make it a little bit more graphic, what you were talking about.
Okay, thank you.
And since you're trying to go to Whitney's section, I'm gonna put it mute.
Man, okay, yeah.
If not, she's gonna.
So, yeah, no, you don't know. Okay, so I am going to, yep, microphones are already in mute. Okay, yeah, tell Kevin to be quiet as well. Enrique's dog, in case you haven't missed some of the episodes. Okay, so I know that I'm going to get lots of criticism from at least one of my colleagues tonight on this list, but I would like to say that Ted Campbell's blog, it's called No Hay Bronca. So we're gonna, and in that blog, he actually has a page about slang. So tonight's slang is not just dedicated to one of our guests, but it came from his blog. So if it's incorrect, Enrique, take it up with Ted. Now, so the first word is bronca. So, okay. Ted's blog, No Hay Bronca, we're going to get to that in a minute. So bronca means a lot of things. In regular, regular non-slang Spanish, in a lot of countries, it can mean like a fight, a scolding, a telling off. Pretty much every episode that we have on the show, we have many broncas, a mess, a row, a racket. But in Mexico, it's also known as problem. So no hay bronca means that it is not a problem. It's like saying no pasa nada, no hay bronca. So that's what it means. I'm still watching you two. You think I can't multitask, but I'm quite good at it. All right. So that's the first word / 2 words expression. So that's the name of his blog, No Hay Bronca, no problem. Now, ahorita, this isn't specific to Mexico at all, but it is something that is said. So ahora means now, right? And ahorita, so we mentioned earlier in this episode, the ito or ita, this is what we call diminutive, and it's used to show something that's like small. So ahorita like literally means like right now. And in Mexico, they might say ahorita, and you might think right now, but it can also and typically can be used to say soon or eventually. Yes. Okay, good. We are in agreement. I'm checking Enrique's face because I know the judgment is going to like ooze out if I don't get any of this right. Okay, next 3, because I always just plan like 6 words because I'd rather explain them. Quality over quantity. Okay, luego. So luego means later, and you've seen it before, like hasta luego. You can use it as a connecting word when you're thinking is like a thinking word. I don't really, but I've heard it that way. Luego. So unlike ahorita, this actually does mean right now. So that's a word I'm going to start using with Enrique and Roger when I say put your microphones in mute. Luego. And then un camión. So camión is, okay. So it can mean in other parts of Latin America, a truck, but it actually is referred to as a bus. So the official word for bus is autobús. We have seen other words from other countries as bus, like guagua is bus in Cuba, like La República Dominicana in Puerto Rico. We've seen colectivos in various countries, Argentina being one of them. And oh gosh, I don't know if Enrique is taking notes, like because he's learning something or he's taking notes to tell me how wrong I am. But camión is a word to say autobús, a bus, un camión. And then the last one is codo. So codo means like your elbow, but in Mexico, it's slang for stingy. So stingy is someone who's like a cheap person. Una persona tacaña, okay? Tacaño. Roger, you are so funny. Oh my goodness. I'm not saying a thing. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing because I would like to stay on the Latin America show. So I'm going to be quiet for once. So if someone says no seas codo, it's like, don't be cheap. All right. And there are more expressions that use codo, like hablar por los codos, which means like someone who talks too much. I'm not making a comment about that at all either. I'm going to be very careful. Romperse los codos, which is someone who like works too hard. So there's a lot of expressions with it, and we'll get into more of those next time. But that is the end, and that's it for the segment for tonight. And la micro, ¿qué es eso? Explícamelo. Can you
Roger,
talk the words?
can you explain what is la micro?
I don't know this one. Wait, okay, I'm looking it up. I don't trust these dictionaries.
No, it's part of the slang. When you were talking about el camión.
Like minibus. Yes.
It's like a minibus.
Yep,
But
I just looked that
I don't
up.
know why it's interesting, because micro, it's like it's a masculine, yeah? And normally it should be el micro, no? Because it could be
That's
like
true, like el micro préstamo.
yeah, but to the minibus, they call them la micro.
It's like la mano.
Like la guagua and everything, they call it la micro. It's wrong. I think it's wrong, because it's el microbús. That could be, but they call it like
Ladies and
part of the.
gentlemen, if Enrique says it's wrong, it has to be wrong.
No. It's wrong because it's el microbús. No es
I
la
understand.
microbús. It's el microbús because it's masculine, but people, they call it la micro. So it's like, what? No idea why, but it's like, that's the way that
and the
people
micro,
call it.
But
and the
maybe
micro doesn't have
micro-
much because it's a big bus.
Yeah, actually, it's a
like-
big boss. Yeah.
Or like if it's, I don't know if they say colectiva though. I know they say colectivos. So if it was like a version of
Depends
that,
where,
then-
but yeah, it could be colectivo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's maybe in different cities in Mexico, they call it el colectivo. Yeah, could be.
should have asked
But
that. Oh,
yeah,
darn.
actually, I think so. It should be like a proper way to call it sometimes. Yeah, but it's more like a slang, as you were saying. And the other one, it's interesting because ahorita, as you were saying, it's
Mhm.
like, it depends. Sometimes we use it ahorita, ahoritita, ahorita mismo. So
Well,
it's
yeah,
like
if we're
different
doing this,
times.
I think our audience,
Different
yeah,
times that could be like ahorita, like eventually, yeah.
And-
Ahoritita is
See-
like
And
as soon as possible,
yes.
and ahoritita mismo means like
See, that's
right
mismo,
now.
But okay, definitely, because ahora mismo means like right now. So definitely if you add mismo at the end, I totally agree. But ahorita, definitely has lots of connotations. And
Yes, of course.
a lot of them
ahorita
don't
is-
mean
yeah.
in this moment right now.
Yeah, just be careful because, well,
And-
it's like you are saying right now, however, it's not right now when they are
Right.
telling you, ahorita, yeah,
Well,
ahorita.
It's like you saying you're going to put the microphone on mute right now, and then it takes you like 2 minutes. So it eventually happens. It just might not be when I ask you to.
Hold on, let me do something.
yeah. Hey, Whitney, Whitney, you need to.
Sorry, she was on mute.
On that-
I don't know why she was on mute. I think
Sí,
so.
es
Whitney,
un
by
micrófono.
mistake, you press the mute button.
No, you don't. You
Hey.
don't make mistakes. And if you do, you wouldn't.
Teacher,
Sí,
teacher,
sí, estudiante
Imagine-
favorito.
if you say ahoritititita, it's because someone is already angry because it's not there.
I will use that in next week's segment with one of you. You may guess who.
So,
This is like the
Yeah,
best.
well, anyway. Anyway, the other thing is that, well, it's like as Justin, she's saying, well, something that happened is el pecero in Mexico, and basically I think in Mexico City, el pecero, and el pecero, it could be the microbus also that we were talking about. But actually, the reason why they call it pecero is not because it's pecera. What's the meaning of pecera in English, Whitney?
Well, I think one of the ways,
It
I
could be
mean,
like a
like,
fish
the only
tank.
other way I heard it is used like
Like a
in
fish
slang
tank.
as like a butcher.
Well, no, it could be a fish tank. Yeah.
Oh,
Pecera.
oh, there's no way I knew that. Yeah.
Okay. Una pecera, one pecera. The translation should be like a fish tank. Yeah.
Right.
However, in Mexico we call it fish tank. Also, if you want to say fish tank, to this microbus or some. It could be like combis that used to be like these small cars that they were like moving people. But actually, the reason why, or the rationale behind that, is because you have to pay 1 peso for the journey. So the reason why is that they were what they said pecera because it cost 1 peso. However, of course, with the time that rate, it was not any longer, but they just received the name of la pecera.
But it's it's
el pecero.
It's like saying a dollar store, but nothing in there costs $1 anymore.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
So well, it's like some of the things. Thank you, Jaja, for letting us know that, and also we were saying, okay, well, Annalise, she's saying something interesting because also she's comparing with South Africa, and she's saying that in South Africa, she's saying we also have now, just now, and now, all different states of urgency. So while it's basically, it's almost the same that we have, it depends the different time scales. So while the now is not always now.
Oh, it's like in the States, it's the typical scenario. Like, woman's in the kitchen, guys on the sofa watching football. Will you wash the dishes? Yeah, I'll get to it now. It's like, when now?
You see, so it's exactly the same. So you use the language in that way.
Times have changed, but it's one of those scenarios.
Oh, it's the same. It's ahorita.
Ahorititita.
Ahorita mismo. Yeah, it's when you are completely angry about that. But anyway, thank you very much. I think it's very illustrative, and well, we know more slang about Mexico and Latin America. And yes, of course, el camión. Yeah, that's interesting. El camión. That we call it. And actually, of course, you cannot say camionero to a bus driver, even it could be, because camionero, it should be like a truck driver. And the other one, it could be a bus driver. So be careful. The dog, and also some of them, they could get offended if you use that one. But of course, if you are like not native Spanish speaker, they will understand. So don't worry about it. So, yeah.
Wonderful anecdote. I'm learning something every show. You see, it's good that you're attending the Latin America show as all the rest of the audience.
Anyway, I think so. We have like something with you, Roger, about some events.
Yeah, well, just a reminder again, please, Enrique, we have the tequila tasting and network session this May 27. Thanks to our friends of the Mexican Chamber of Commerce. If you want to know more, just visit the website of the Mexican Chamber of Commerce, and then you will see the events there. And then if you give a click, you will see all the instructions so you can subscribe just to have this amazing tequila tasting.
Thank you. I already shared with the audience, and I think you have another slide for different events from our friend Sachin. Yeah,
of course. Just put it in the correct place. Yes. These the events this week by Latin Indian Events is going to be a very special thing, because there's going to be a project talk on the Children Change Colombia charity, as you've seen it on Latin America show before. You're going to get a detailed insight into their projects and work. So I will post these after the show, so you can visit the link there, or just visit straight away www.childrenchangecolombia.org. That's it.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much, my dear Roger. And well, I think it's time to go. So thank you very much, Roger Alarcón.
Well, it's been a pleasure to be with you guys, and also to hear an amazing artist, which is he want to help the other artists. And as I said before, we have so many talent here in the Latin American show. And if you know someone, or if you're an artist, please contact us at the Latin American show so we can show you your songs, or any artist can contact us.
Thank you, Roger. And of course, well, as Roger said, well, if you know someone who is interested to come to the show, let us know. Send us a message here to the Latin America Show Facebook page. And on the other side, we have in Tower Bridge, Whitney Lucereno.
Thank you again for tonight. It was really fun watching back that interview with Ted and talking with Dukus. It was really a pleasure. And I have not had this yet, but I look forward to this after the show. And hopefully you will have poured a glass for yourself as well, as you still have 3 hours and 4 minutes to enjoy nope, 2 hours and 3 minutes. I can't do math. Very good. It's not the wine, just a tired brain. To enjoy National Wine Day before it's midnight. Don't judge, Enrique.
Hey, Whitney.
I'm judging myself, so it's yeah.
And for the audience, I found you for this. I found you this.
Yay! Thank you. Yep. Everyone that we've had on the show that has their music on Spotify is on there. And oh, one last thing. Actually, I went and saw Ellie y la Evolución Sunday night at Ronnie Scott's. So good. So next time that she and her band are playing, go. It was one of the best concerts I had been to. It's Timba music. It's really lively. It's really fun. I 100% recommend. So I don't know when the next concert is, but I'm sure it'll be sometime this summer. So check out the Ronnie Scott's page. And once we know, I will broadcast it on here for sure. It was 100% worth it. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Whitney.
Please tell us, Whitney, when you're going back again. So I want to go. Okay.
Yeah, and Ellie came and met us later. So I met some of the band. It's a really
Look
great.
At this.
Oh
Look
my
at
God.
This. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Sunday night, which was a little tough, but it was 100% worth it. And they figured out how to socially distance and put the little transparent screens up. So it was well done.
Perfect. And thank you, Lily Martinez, also for being here. And I'm nice with Whitney. She's saying, Enrique, be nice with Whitney. Yes, I'm nice with Whitney. I'm with her. I'm just yeah. Actually, she's the one that, if you pay attention to the program, she's always mocking me. And she's just being a mean teacher with me. Yeah. So.
Little deserved.
Bad student.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Whitney. Thank you very much, Roger. And thank you very much, everyone, for watching this episode. And well, remember to give us a like, and remember to share the videos. And remember that the Latin America Show is every Tuesday, 8 p.m. London time. My name is Enrique Gelista, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.